What's up, guys? Good evening and welcome to Roma Theory. We are alive. The question is, were we ever dead? We'll try and answer that question in this match reaction. I think we played a very good game yesterday. I was very surprised. Actually, I wasn't, because I predicted Roma to go full points in these last four remaining games. Now we're missing three. I think we played a very good game yesterday. Incredible intensity. Once again, incredible response from the players. And people will say, well, Fiorentina already on holiday. And I don't blame you. But Fiorentina have been on holiday ever since September. They never came back from their summer holidays. So this is the Fiorentina of this season. And also, look, Juventus played against an already relegated Bologna side and drew. This league is competitive. The quality in this league might not be the best. In fact, it is absolutely rubbish. But it's competitive, and results prove it this season. Teams that don't have much to play for still grab good points and golden points in these games. Look at Sassuolo against Milan. So we definitely did our job, but I think we exceeded in our job. A very successful shift, Monday night shift. A very good performance from a lot of players. I focused on Malin. I know he didn't score yesterday, but I honestly, and maybe this is heretical, maybe it is, but it feels like Ronaldo R9 is playing in front of us. Honestly, I'm not joking. O fenomeno. No, I am joking, but he is absolutely unreal. I don't remember a player of that caliber being bought for 25 million. 25 million. I still need to understand why Aston Villa let him go, let alone us buy him for 25 million. Yeah, good response from a lot of players. Very good performance. And we're back in it. We're knocking on that door. We're knocking on heaven's door. We're knocking on that Champions League door, because now the pressure is all on them. And that is, I think, what pens in our favour. The fact that nobody put us in this position 2 weeks ago, and now we're back there, so that Milan and Juventus don't expect us to be there, and the pressure is on them. And I actually would say that the most pressure is on Milan, because Milan did not expect one bit to be in this position. They were not expecting to be in this position, and they've got the hardest calendar, and they've played rubbish football ever since the start of the league. And I always said how Milan are a product of luck this season, because they are absolutely garbage. And the reason they never lost a game from the first game week, which they lost at home to Cremonese, to January basically, is because of Allegri's ass. Because they were never a team that, I mean, at a certain stage, I even predicted them to win the league with this luck. But then they've landed back in a realm of reality, and you just understand that you cannot survive with so much luck in football. So I would argue that the biggest pressure is on Milan. But I'll do a Champions League talk at the end. I want to speak about the game. I want you to like the video. So if you're new here, please do subscribe first of all and like the video. It takes 2 seconds and it supports the channel a lot. If we get 30 live likes, actually, if we get 35 live likes, I will do you my Vincent Kompany impression at the end of this live stream. I'm preparing an exam, an oral exam, a European Union law exam, which I need to take in like 2 weeks. And I despise that subject. Like, I find it so boring. And so I was practicing in this room, speaking to a wall. And at a certain moment today, during my study break, I was doing the company, the company impression in front of that wall, like an absolute idiot. So I'm gonna do it to you guys if we get 35 likes. By the way, I'm adding stickers. I've got one more game left. One more game for me. And then I'm off to Canada in August. So I'll see the Olimpico in a very long time. I gotta bring some of these in Montreal to Montreal. I'll bring some, and I'll properly suit Montreal with Roma stickers. This is Mile, by the way. I'm not sure if you will recognize. Um, okay, before we get into the match reaction, if you hear a chainsaw outside, it is not a chainsaw. It's not a psychopath. It's a guy with a grass blower. So I apologize if it's annoying, but we'll move on and we'll speak about the game. First of all, I mean, intensity and fluidity, I'm not going to massively focus on because it's always been there. It's always been there. Again, there have been games this season where you have struggled for multiple factors combining together. But I think overall, generally, this team is a team that has always tried to put this intensity shift in games. Now, again, you don't manage to put it in every game. There have been some games this season, even under this manager, that were absolutely terrible to watch and where we played absolutely awful games. But generally speaking, you can tell that the desire of this team remains to play this high intensity football, which requires, it requires a squad depth. It requires good physical, optimal condition. And we know this because we got to March with a depleted squad depth and these players were absolutely dead on the pitch. So there are conditions that needs to be satisfied in order for this football to thrive. I think another thing that I will give is that, and that the manager has always referred to in pre and post game interviews and press conferences is that this is a healthy group of players. These players have not caused any tantrums lately. This is a healthy group of players. Now, again, a lot of these players might not be perfect football players. In fact, a lot of them are not good football players, but they in the majority of games that they give it their best. And this is something that I think the manager wants the fans to recognize as well. Because every time he has the chance to speak, he refers back to he kind of thanks these players for being so available to him, which is what they are contractually bound to do, but it is not something that you take for granted. So that's something that has to be addressed. I think individual performances, you need to look at some players that I think played phenomenal yesterday. Starting chronologically, Ndika played great. Mancho scored the goal, but I do think Ndika was the best defender yesterday. Kone, again, just like there's a Roma with Wesley and there's a Roma without Wesley, there's a Roma with Malen, there's a Roma without Malen, there's a Roma with Kone, a fit Kone, and there's a Roma without a fit Kone. I think Kone has got one thing that he does so well, and it's the change of rhythms. Like, you know how he just stops the ball and completely accelerates his movement, and the opponent which is marking him just cannot catch him. He has got this ability of changing rhythm with the ball beneath his feet that he does absolutely perfect. And that, against these teams, is decisive. Now, I've been critical of Kone this season. I have. And I'm not going to hide the fact that I still think if you need to sacrifice one big player this summer, I still pick Kone to be sacrificed. Let's say you're in a life-death situation where you've got Svelor, Kone, Ndika, and I don't know. One of these three needs to go. Who do you let go? I still pick Kone to leave because I still think that Kone lacks something, and it's this performance when you face bigger teams. He never does it. He never does it. He never does it. The maximum great performance that I've seen from Kone is in a derby, but whenever the level exceeds, you can put this argument for a lot of players in this team. There is one of the issues of this team is that we don't have big game players. We all agree. I don't think there is one big game player in this team apart from Malen, you could argue. We do have this tendency of having players that do not perform whenever the stage becomes harder to perform in. But Kone is the player that you need to rely on in those games, and he never does it. He never does it. Partly because he's injury prone, partly because this season he's never really found that consistency. But I need to recognize that in these games he's dominant. In these games he's absolutely dominant, and in these games he's the reason we win the majority of times. The assist he puts to Hermoso, these are assists that probably only him can do because he has got a physique that other midfielders in this team don't have. Okay, so that physical presence is very important. Malen, I think, is I am shocked. I am shocked, and I don't normally get shocked by many players. I mean, this is false. This is a lie. I just lied to you. I am shocked by a lot of players, but I'm rarely shocked by players that are part of your team. Like I'm unless it's Dybala with that Dybala move. I'm very rarely. I'm very rarely at the stadium watching my team play. Go, oh wow, what did he do? He's incredible. Malen has completely and utterly shocked me because I was not expecting this one bit, and that's the best part of this. The best part of this is I bet you 99% of fans was not expecting him to be this. And that's why it's so nice. And he's not a one-season wonder. I will put my hand on fire on this. I got very gassed with Tammy Abraham, but Tammy Abraham has always been a one-season wonder. He's not, because he's a good football player. Because he does things that only good football players can do. I always refer back to his first touch. His first touch is something illegal. Illegal. His first touch is something illegal. Illegal. His chance creation, the fact that whenever he wants to shoot, he shoots, no matter who's blocking in front of him. If he wants to shoot, he shoots, and there's nothing you can do about it. The fact that he's just so agile and so small, maybe it's that. We've been so used to giants, paranormal giants that were lampposts in these last years, that maybe this is what we needed. So Malen not scoring, but again, same exact assist as last week against Bologna, like the same exact Trivela touch. And it's just a joy to watch in general. Wesley is I think Wesley is the most important player in this team, even more than Malen. I'm starting to completely understand people who say this, because I think there is such a big difference of when he plays and when he doesn't, and I think that is, I don't know how you phrase this, but it's like he is, in terms of tempo, yes. In terms of unpredictability, yes, scores an incredible goal yesterday that starts from the Sulic side, moves to Hermoso, and then moves to Wesley, who shoots. Great shot. But no, I mean, it's just that flair that he has that nobody else has in this team, and it makes him the most important player, I think. I really do think this. And then Pizzo. Yes, people who are saying in the comments Pizzilli is the classic example of how young players grow under Gasperini. He's the example. You take examples at Atalanta, and then you refer back to this. Gasperini with young players follows this recipe. At the beginning of the season, not much game time, but gradually moving forward with the season, becoming a pillar of the team. And there are so many examples of this at Atalanta. Now, I think a lot of Pizzilli's growth needs to be kind of owed to the fact that Kone has been injured a lot this season. Elanawi never clicked, in a sense that, yes, he's had his good performances, but overall, performance-wise, he's never exceeded expectations. And Cristante is Cristante. And having only those four players in the middle well, for including Pisilli, has allowed him to play a lot, especially because, as you said before, Kone has been injured quite frequently this season. But yeah, I think what Gasperini said post game yesterday is interesting to note down. He said, "I fought in January to keep Pisilli," and I think Gasperini said another. It's not an attack, but it's kind of like. He said he said something important post game Gasperini yesterday. Gasperini said, everyone can have their opinions, but I am the manager, and if I am not allowed to work with my ideas and my opinions, then it's best for me to leave. And that is, I would say, a continuation to what happened in these last weeks, but as to why this manager needs freedom of choice, because otherwise he will not thrive. And I think yesterday with what he said, he's made it very clear. I respect everyone's ideas and opinions, but I'm the one who needs to work here, and I need to work with my ideas. And if I'm not allowed to work with my ideas, then it's best for me to leave. And that was very clear, very, very clear. Also moving forward into next season and how things need to change. Hermoso played a good game, yes, scored another goal. You know, the reason why we're scoring more goals is because we are massively increasing the amount of players that run into the box. If you take this game, for instance, and take a game with Dovbyk and Ferguson up front at the start of the season, you note down that one of the reasons why we didn't score goals is because they were the only players in the box. They were the only players in the box. Everyone was always behind them. Having versatility with Malin allows Malin to drop down and have players to run inside that box. How does that Pisilli goal come about? That Pisilli goal comes about exactly for this reason. Because Pisilli finds himself in the box. I need you and I want you as homework, as Roma Theory homework, for the next game to take a minute of when we were attacking in a game with Ferguson or Dovbyk up front at the start of the season and notice how they were the only ones in the box. They were the only ones in the box. So this net movement of players into the box, with Malin dropping down and of course being more technical than Ferguson and Dovbyk and thus helping this movement, allows you to score more goals. And it never took a genius to explain this. This is what Gasperinian football is about. Occupying the box, because that is the only way you score goals. Okay, unless you have Haaland up front. But you don't have Haaland up front. So you need to use the movements of players even if they aren't strikers. People wanna know what I think about the Champions League race. I'm gonna say something big. I don't want to say this. I don't want to say this because I just know that we're gonna get fucked. I just know that we're gonna get fucked. I just know that we're gonna fuck ourselves up. Because this team is this team and we're just experts in doing this. But I'm going to say one thing, which I strongly believe in. I'm not just saying this because of optimism wave hitting me. If you win all your games, you're in the Champions League. I'm convinced about this. I am confident that if you win your games, you're in the Champions League. Because I see Juventus slipping up in a game. That can mean a draw as well. And I definitely see Milan slip up in at least one of the games. If not two. But with Milan's ass, I'm not going to guarantee that. I just see Juve slipping up on Sunday against Lecce. I just see it. I've got it in me. I've got the vision in me. There is a very big hazard here. There's a very big hazard here. Which unfortunately you gotta blame Verona for. Because if Verona didn't get anything from that game, then we wouldn't even be in this position. But due to the fact, we gotta blame Verona. We gotta blame Verona because Verona has completely reopened our dreams and our beliefs. And now, if we don't get Champions League, we're gonna kill ourselves. That's the truth. The truth now is that we were dead, or were we not? We're now back in it. I don't even know how we're back in it because I was certain of your death 2 weeks ago. You're back in this race, and so all of that extra hope now, if you don't get it, like it's just, oh my fucking hell, I will chop my balls. But you got to do your job. And you know what? You know what's so frustrating? That you could win all of your games and still not be in the Champions League, which would be just the classic Roma season where everything goes wrong, But I see Juve slipping up. You know, next weekend against Lecce, yeah, if Cremonese had won yesterday against Lazio, it would have even been better. But in a sense, now Lecce kind of have a match point. They know that if they get anything from that Juve game, they are almost safe. Also because Cremonese play at home against already relegated Pisa. So I expect them to win that game. But the fact that Juve play before us, I'm not sure if it's a good thing or a bad thing. But we'll see. I mean, we will see. We have the derby as well. We have the derby as well. And it's a derby. I mean, yeah, they've got the Coppa Italia, but it's a derby. You know, imagine the opposite way around. Imagine being Roma, knowing that we're playing the Coppa Italia final, yes, but knowing that if Lazio win the derby against us, they could be in the Champions League. Because then last game week you're playing against relegated Verona. Okay, fine, we're idiots, but if you lose against an already relegated Verona to bottle your match point, then I'm sorry, but you just need to go and fuck off. In the last game week. So in a way, you could come to that derby potentially with a Champions League qualification match point. Now imagine a scenario where we could fuck it up for Lazio. You would want to play the game of your life. Whether you win the Coppa Italia and are already on holiday, or whether you lose the Coppa Italia and are completely depleted, it's the chance to fuck it up. And you will want intensity in that game. So it is always a derby, and you never know. I expect we've got Parma first, and we'll analyze the Parma game this week. But we've got that, and I think now what we need to do is one game at a time, because if we start already thinking about the derby and then adding 6 points, no. Parma first, Juve have Lecce, Milan have Atalanta at home. That's all I know. Then we move game week by game week. 3. We've got 3 games left. 3 games left. What happens next. But everything has been reopened. That's for sure. Yeah. Okay, I'll read a few comments. Oh, I gotta do the company impression because you guys hit the like target. These results give me hope, and I can't see our team don't qualify for UCL for 1 point another year in a row. Hermoso was excellent. Having defenders who are an attacking threat is huge. Pizzilli is becoming such a smart player, understands gasp tactics so well. Kone's awareness, physically and finesse is next level. I mean, who thought Malen would... That's exactly why it's so unexpected, because nobody was expecting... Ooh. What did I do? Oops, sorry. Hang on. Okay. No. Needs to be a bit bigger. Sorry about this. Oh my god. Technology. We're not technology boys. Okay. We've done it. I love these. You can't read them, but I want more stickers here. Did he fight to keep him in January? Roma turned down offers for him for 20 in the summer. Pizzilli was never going to leave in January. Pizzilli could have left on loan in January. He could have, absolutely. Are you a Roma fan but you come from England? I am Italian, mate. I'm not English. Roma need to buy Wani from Girona, Noah Lang for the left wing, and Salah Eddin needs to come back for left back. We need wingers and creative players with passing and vision. No more slow-paced turtle Cristante. I'm from Rome. Okay, you want to see my company impression? I've been training on this all day, guys. I'm wearing my pajamas. Okay, so mind me. But I promised this to you guys, and I keep promises. I just need to recite this in my mind. Okay. Ready? I'm an actor, guys. I used to do drama when I was a kid, and I was actually very, very good. Listen, no misunderstanding. There's one fucking side of me you haven't fucking seen, boys. Wes, whether we play 3, 4, 5, 6, it is my fucking decision. And I take the fucking responsibility if we lose or if we don't perform well. Oh, did my mum get mad? My mum got scared. That was good. Okay, let me read a few more comments. Listen! No misunderstanding! There's one fucking side of me you haven't fucking seen, boys! Okay. What else? Did I miss anything? I think I've said everything. Champions League tonight. I have Atletico going through. I can't stand Arsenal. I want Atleti to go through, and I have Atleti to go through. Big game tomorrow. I want PSG to go through, despite Vinny, but I want PSG to go through. And yeah, bring it on. I'm 3 more games, guys. I can't believe it. I've got 1 more game remaining until I will be inside the Stadio Olimpico for a very long time. I will announce. A lot of people will probably ask themselves, will Roma Theory continue now that for September, October, November, December, I will be in Montreal in Canada, and I will speak about the future of the channel at the end of the season. So yeah, I won't quit, but there needs to be a sort of remodulation. But we'll speak about that at the end of the season. 3 more games, 3 more finals. We need to give it our best. We need to do our job and hope that the god of football makes Juventus or Milan crumble apart. Hit the like, subscribe, Forza Roma sempre, and I'll talk to you soon. Simo out.